Hey everybody. So today we're going to look at Autodesk University Day 3. So technically this is very far from Day 3, but I did make a recording of this, but then I uploaded it without audio, so I had to re-record it because I couldn't find my backups. But anyways, I'm going to continue doing these. I've got some courses I still want to watch, and then I'm going to put up like another video called maybe Autodesk Day 4 or something like that, just going over those videos just like I've done in the previous videos like this. So to get into it, this is day 3, and so this is a combination of days of these classes that I've watched. So going digital on large projects, automating boring stuff in Autodesk using RPA, design technology, leadership, and then Forge roadmap, visual insights, visualizing data in your models. So the first one is going digital on large projects, BIM 360 design coordination. This is a incredible project. This is, if I were on this project, this would be by far one of the biggest ones. But the best thing is learning from the folks that worked on these projects. So you get to listen to some folks from AECOM and some of the complexities that they ran into on this project, and it's quite incredible. And they used BIM 360, obviously, which in my opinion is an incredible platform. I really like it. It's fantastic. It's easy. There is the annoying part of managing it, but if you are familiar with Forge, then that stuff can easily be automated. But I thought this was really impressive. So it's 2 countries, North America and Canada, 3 standards, 4 major projects kind of going on at once, 25 plus sub-consultants, 40 plus offices globally, and then 500 design team members. And so, it's funny because the firm I work for, I think we're about 1,300 folks. So 500 would be, a third to half our entire company. So pretty cool stuff, pretty cool project. And so this is what it looks like. You can see North America up there, and then you can see Canada down there. So you can see it's very large, a lot of stuff going on, and just a really cool project. And so they didn't really go in depth on all the different tools or really technical on this. This is really high level, but I thought this was a cool image to share. And you could see where they leveraged Dynamo to solve a problem. So I thought this was a really cool example of that. Worth checking out. I always like watching these things to see what ideas I can leverage in my own way on projects that I work on. Not necessarily, just download a specific workflow, but to just see how they do it. Maybe I can tweak my own. Maybe I can learn from it. So I really like these classes for that. It's just an opportunity to see how other people are doing it, and is there a way to improve the way that I do it and the way that other teams are doing it. All right, so the next one is automate boring stuff in Autodesk using RPA. So amazing class. I definitely recommend checking this out. RPA stands for Robotic Process Automation. It's pretty much it's just pretty much automation. So it's automating a process that may be typically done by a human, and it's just replacing that human with a robot, essentially. It's just a program that runs through a number of steps. So they leverage a pretty cool tool called UIPath, and the next image I'll show you that. But it's an incredible tool that they've leveraged. I haven't dived into this, but coincidentally, the firm that I work for, we had a presentation on that topic. Somebody on IT was looking into it, and they said it was one of the top RPA tools out there. So it's a really cool tool to check out. I think it's totally worth it. I know I'm going to at some points when I get the opportunity to. And I'll show you another option as well, depending on what you have access to. So UiPath, and also I'll show you another option, but there's plenty of other ones. So here's the interface of UiPath, and they actually go in and show you kind of a specific example on using this. So I think it's worth checking out. This is the link for UiPath up here, or you could just Google it, but this is to their, I think, their blog or something. So the other tool, so the tool that I use is Microsoft Flow or Power Automate. Power Automate has an actual like UI, RPA type function in it. I think it's still in development, some of it, but I find there's a lot of cool things in there. You can automate like interacting with specific softwares and stuff. I do think UiPath is a lot more robust. There's a lot more stuff involved with it, but Power Automate, if you have access to Microsoft tools, then you may already have access to this tool. I know it does get expensive if you're using this tool with Teams. I think it's $100 per license or something like that per month. I can't remember the exact numbers, but it's much cheaper if you're using it individually just for yourself. But I definitely think if you have access to this tool, it's worth checking out. You could at least automate some of those tedious things that you deal with, daily, or like you could automate emails, or like in my example, I am watching a file, and it's very simple to use. I think another one was like Google Puppeteer, but you may need to understand programming a little bit. So design technology leadership, standards and processes on Autodesk products. So this is a presentation on kind of the soft skills that go into technology and technology leadership. I think it's well worth the watch. There's 3 folks that are presenting in this presentation. The only person that I can remember is Ryan Cameron, which I'm sure many of you have heard of before. He's done many talks, and a lot of folks have seen him. So this is kind of the breakdown of what they're going to be talking about. So people, process, profits. They talk about it. They go in depth with it. So it's a very interesting talk. So here's a little bit more on it. So digital technology leadership, people, keep things simple. So it really talks about that stuff. So it was a refreshing presentation. It talked about the people, because I definitely think that when you're trying to pull in a new technology or leverage a new workflow, that there's a lot of complexity when you're dealing with people in different cultures and stuff. So they talk a lot about a lot of different things. So definitely worth listening to. Here's a cool technology organization chart. So it shows the digital technology, maybe the CTO kind of in the middle, and then the different folks breaking off, and then the sub people past that, and then kind of what their different roles are. So this is just a cool little tech organization chart. There's many of these. Many firms have their own version of this, but this is just an example that they were showing on how you can break up technology roles. I thought this was kind of interesting. I need to go back and listen to specifically what they were talking about here, but I thought this was kind of interesting with how many what do I do, and it lists not just a couple roles, but like many roles, which if you know data scientists and data analysts, those are 2 different roles entirely. One's more, so like data analysts may deal more with SQL and dashboard development. They may work with data, but data scientists may be more involved with some more complex stuff with machine learning. They need to have a pretty good understanding of machine learning and statistics and mathematics. They also generally have a master's degree or doctorate, depending on what they're doing. And software developer. I mean, these are not easy jobs, but I thought it was really interesting, that list. And then it shows here what skills maybe you would need to have to be to also do these different industry things. So there is, I think, a lot of complexity here. There's a lot of stuff. So I just thought this was interesting to share. I'd love to get your thoughts on this too. I don't know. I can't remember exactly what they were talking about in this image. But I would be interested to know if anybody has at least half of these skills, and what are they doing for the AEC industry? I'd love to know. The next one was Forge Roadmap Visual Insights, visualizing data in your models. I really like, so I'm not a Forge developer. I also am not a front-end developer or web developer, so I don't use JavaScript or HTML or CSS or any of the things like Node.js for back-end stuff. I don't use any of this stuff. So it's nice to see it and see what it's made up of. I do like Forge. I do like leveraging the BIM 360 API, but it's more or less for data, just extracting data, not so much this web development stuff. So it was cool to see where things were going and how people were using or where Forge was headed and how they may use it. So it talks a little bit about the Forge APIs. Primarily, I'm stuck in the BIM 360 API. Because it's easy to use and it does exactly what I want, which is getting the data. Upcoming enhancements, so it does talk about that. Large model handling, I thought this was kind of cool. So you could viewing rebar geometry, support for point clouds, which is pretty cool, and then some other things. There's definitely some cool stuff like new extensions, aerial minimap, depth of field, quick measure, and then some dev enhancements, so advanced features to build custom visual experiences, which that may be cool to check out. I'd like to check that out. Improved documentation. So listen to it. It's interesting. I always like to see where things are headed and how they're developing it. Not that I will use it at any point, but it's interesting to see. So some cool stuff. I wanted to share this. I thought this was interesting. This was so there's a few things I want to share, and we'll look at an older class as well that I think pairs pretty well with this. But this is a pretty cool model that you can play around with, and it's to look at IoT information. And this is from Kean's blog, so right up here. So check this out and go look at this. You can play with this model actually and look at the data. So I definitely recommend checking that out. And then this is the link to get to that model to play with. So definitely go look at that. So here's a cool example of a company using Forge to develop their application on. And so they're leveraging the cloud and the viewer API to make an IoT facility management platform. And so you can check out their site up here. So it's Vueops.com. So check that out and take a look at how they're using it. I always like seeing it because it's fascinating to see how that's used. Maybe I can use it, but also how are they developing it? What are they doing? How are they using it? Because that can give you an idea of how much, how far can you take the Forge viewer or the Forge APIs. And so I think this pairs pretty well. So advanced data visualization using the Forge viewer. So if you are a front-end developer or you're interested in front-end development, I think this is a interesting course. Also, if you're interested in Forge and then Project Dasher and all of that, definitely check this class out. But what I liked mostly about this is what they shared about external libraries and then how they made their viewer and stuff, and how they made the different UIs and the different boxes and stuff. That was interesting because it gave me a way better understanding of what it takes to make up that viewer, how to make it. Because, no, I'm not interested. I'm more interested in the data that maybe it generates or the data it's leveraging. I would like to know how it's made, so maybe I could create my own viewer very quickly to maybe show data and have the model there. So that for that reason, it's interesting to see what it takes to make something like that. So there's a brief history of Project Dasher. I think it started around 2010, the project itself. So that was kind of interesting. It's been around for about 20 years, so quite some time. Dasher Forge usage. So this was kind of cool to see what Dasher was made up of. So you have client-side Dasher 360, backend, Node.js, and then MongoDB. So there's a lot of cool stuff, and that's primarily what I watch this for. And then here's the external libraries. So all the different things that made up Dasher, all the different things that they use to make the UIs and stuff. That's what a lot of this is. So you have Fancy Tree, which I think is what they use to make the tree drop down that you may have saw inside of that GIF. You could see you could select elements or select levels, and I think they use that. So I thought this was really cool. I haven't had a chance to look at all these because they don't necessarily apply to me. I would more or less just like to be able to pull the data out really quickly, or at least be able to visualize it in a viewer. But you know, if I get to that point, I think these would be useful tools. And one thing or one barrier for me is that I don't know JavaScript, and I'm primarily focused on Python, and so that's another barrier. But you know, there's resources, and you know, now you know if you ever want to go out to the viewer and actually learn this stuff. That brings me to something else. So this was a book I recently learned about, the visual display of quantitative information. A few cool things to take away from it is that it just, you know, keep your visuals simple. You know, make sure that you understand the information that you're talking about, and you know, make sure that it answers or it presents the information in the easiest way possible. You know, based off of what the you know, end result. So what do you want to show the customer? What do you want to show the folks that are going to be viewing this visual? Keep it simple and make sure it answers that question. So there's a lot of good information though past that in this book, so definitely check it out. I linked below just a summary of that book if you want to listen. So definitely take a look at that if you'd like. And he's also written many other books as well that are worth checking out if you're interested in visuals and data. So these are some of the other classes I'll be watching. So connecting the dots between Office, Field using BIM 360 Docs. The reason why I'm watching that is because we were using Bluebeam pretty heavily, and also PlanGrid to use PDFs and to use drawings and stuff in the field. And we're shifting everything to BIM 360 Docs. So I thought that would be a cool class to watch. Maybe there's something I'm missing, or maybe there's a cool way that they're doing things. Express 4D simulation scheduling and construction management with Dynamo. I thought this would be a cool class. I have not done 4D stuff in a long time. When I used to work at CRB, I used to lead a small group of folks that were just researching how we could connect a design and construction a little bit better, and how we could leverage 4D possibly on projects. And so I'd love to see this and just see how they're leveraging Dynamo. I think this would be a really interesting class. And if anything, maybe there's something we could, you know, take and apply to design in some way. Design automation for Revit, basics and beyond. And then 90 minutes to build a Forge application for project management. So design automation for Revit, I think is they'll be looking at a Forge API. So there's some, you know, basics and beyond it's going to be nice just to see how they're doing things. But this 90 minutes to build a Forge application for project management, I think is going to be really cool to check out. I haven't looked at it yet, but I'm really interested. And I'll make another video talking about these 4 classes plus whatever else I find. So look for that in the future. I don't know when I'm going to roll that out. Hopefully in the next week or so I'll make another video. All right, so thanks for watching, and feel free to join the Discord channel. So this is the link right here, and also you can find the link in the description. The Discord channel is totally free. You can ask your questions on there. It's primarily focused around BIM and data science. So if you have a data science / BIM question, feel free to jump on there. If you want to look at some of the other channels or the other channels on that server, you know, go ahead and look at them. There's a Forge one and a Python one, and just you can ask questions or start a conversation with other folks. I try to be pretty active on that and answer people's questions when I can, and when I can't, I try to connect them with somebody that can possibly answer their questions. So feel free to join, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks.